10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we are on. That's an oldie but goodie right there.
That is a classic right there.
All right, so welcome to our rental income property 101, and we'll come just jump into it.
So let's click the slide. You want me to start it off here?
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right, so you already own a home. You know what it entails and what the process was to get it. Your job's steady, your income's good, have a retirement plan, your home's appreciating value, but this alone is not going to create wealth because now, as we've all learned, things are uncertain, times are uncertain, and stock market's going to get a correction, so you want to diversify your assets. So how do you do that? Investment properties. Uh-oh. What happened with the slides? Vinnie. Hello. Oh, right. We had a that must have been that. All my friends out there, that was a gremlin. That's what happens.
That was the first.
Things go wrong when you buy homes and have investment properties, and that was a small example of a gremlin.
And you can tell this is live. So how do investment properties build wealth? Monthly cash flow. Rental properties create cash flow. Rental properties have the ability to increase cash flow by rent increases. Average San Diego rent, $18,000 to $27.50. Rents are constantly going up. As you can see, rent increases by 4.1, in a bad market, 2.7. Yes, we project on future appreciation, future cash flow. Focus on the now. Focus on what's going on now. It's always hard to hope for better increase in interest rates. I mean, in interest rates in rental. Want to jump into this one, future appreciation?
Yeah, let's jump right in here. So, you look at this future appreciation. Well, San Diego homes typically appreciate around 5.5% per year. In bad times, it's estimated to lose almost 1%, which some areas of San Diego right now probably will experience that with what's going on in the market. And the other thing is, renters are the ones that are going to be paying your mortgage down as the appreciation also goes up. So you have two things working simultaneously. You have the appreciation and someone else paying the mortgage down.
So of course, besides the future appreciation, besides the cash flow, you have the tax write-offs. We're not CPAs yet. We would tell you that. Great tax write-offs. Improvements to the property can be written off. You can depreciate the property for more write-offs, tax insurance, mortgage insurance, interest, maintenance. Now, if you're probably watching this, you already know the benefits of why it is to have a investment property. So let's kind of get an idea of what the next step to get that. Okay, so you can pull out money of your current home. Cash out refi is huge right now. And that's one of the really big things with interest rates so low right now. Maybe you bought and you have in the 4%, 5%. Take money out of your property, refinance, cash out refi, bring down your interest rate, and boom.
David? You can also pull from your IRA and do real estate investment accounts, which is very unique. That's more savvy. But it is something that's available to you with your 401k. You can actually do a 401k type real estate investment account as well. And then your HELOCs, those of you who don't realize how low the rates are right now, you can actually do HELOCs as well, even though the rate on your HELOC is actually higher than what rates are right now. If you're watching our updates that me and Vinnie do weekly, you guys all know interest rates are historically the lowest they've ever been, which is utterly, you're living in an amazing time right now for technology and interest rates.
Cash is king, but cash flow is magic. And what's that idea, right? It's the idea that one person, basically, the difference between a wealthy person and a non-wealthy person is the non-wealthy person works for the money while the wealthy person has their money work for them. So, all right, San Diego home prices and values. All right, yes, they've been sitting steady over the last couple of years. We're probably close to the top of the market yet. If you've been watching our market updates, our inventory is so starved. We have more property under contract than we do have on the market. So the market is starved. We probably have a couple weeks of inventory, and really, in essence,
definitely an interesting time. You know that. There's no doubt about that. If you are watching our seminars, you will see that basically there is half the amount of inventory that we usually have.
Yeah. So what's important to you about investment property? So these are something you probably already know, okay, that you want to make that next step and get an investment property. Okay. Now you have a rough idea of what's possible. Now, really diving deeper into what you want to focus on in your investment property, because there's a lot of different avenues you can go with an investment property. Is it monthly cash flow? Do you want the highest monthly cash flow? Do you want the ability to increase your rent yearly? Or are you going to just go with your first property and then later plan on cash flow because of the rent increases? Something that you see a lot with the highest monthly cash flow is people look at Airbnbs. Now, there is stuff that goes into that where now you're basically managing the property, things like that. Maybe you want basically more of a steady income. You do a 6-month lease or a year lease. Maybe you're willing to do a couple years lease because, you want something more stable. So something to really kind of think about. Is it yearly appreciation? Do you want to buy an area that has the greatest yearly appreciation for possible 3 years sales to leverage up? Now, this is very difficult to do. Yes, we can look over the last couple of years to see kind of growth. We can see, quote unquote, gentrification, areas that are constantly changing over time. Maybe an area that the houses are getting a little dilapidated or falling down. An investor buys the property, rehabs it, puts it back on the market. Those areas are called, quote unquote, gentrifying.
Oh, you love that. That's your favorite.
So those can be good communities for someone that's looking for future appreciation. Yet we don't know where the market's going to go. The market goes up, the market goes down. So I would say be very careful with that one. Yes, if you're handy, construction, things like that, maybe you can add value to the property by appreciating, but it's always scary to focus solely on the community or buy in areas low appreciation because of price, or buy because of appreciation down the road for financing improvements. That's the one that I think is a little bit safer for the appreciation. And then is it safety of investment? Is the location of the property, stability of the rents monthly, long-term tenants versus short-term tenants, the needed maintenance of property, type of tenants, college, business people. Based on the community you're going to be in, you're probably going to get different clientele that's going to want to rent your property out. The price point you're in is different clientele that's going to want to rent the property out. So things to really factor in when you're kind of building your game plan to purchase. And then, Dave, you want to?
Yeah, and then you look at it also. It's like you're buying properties. Are you buying a property in a neighborhood that you want to be in? Are you buying a property that's easy access? Are you buying a property that others will want to live in? The location is super important. Let alone as we jump in here to which kind of property you're going to buy. Remember, it's like you want to own property where people want to live because you want them to pay good rent. And so now we'll jump in. It's like you have single family residences, duplexes, 3 or 4 units. Each one comes with a different set of issues, but each one comes with a different set of upside. So you have to look at it like Vinnie was mentioning earlier, is how do you sleep at night with your investment? Is it the appreciation you want? Is it the cash flow? Do you want multiple renters? Do you just want to try one single family first and then one renter, and then you're comfortable, then move on to other ones? Everyone's different. And that's the unique thing about investing in real estate is you can tailor it to how is best for you.
Yeah, it's really diving deeper into what your comfort level is and sitting down with your lender too, because there's going to be different programs that are going to work best for Basically buying a single family compared to buying a multifamily. I mean, if you've been a landlord before, you can use that income if you're going to move into the property to actually offset your debt to income, things like that. So really having a strong game plan to see what's possible, because maybe one lender might say you can't do this. Another lender says, well, you can do this just by doing this. We're talking to a realtor and saying, this is probably going to be a better return on your investment than this. So really getting a solid group of people together.
You know, the next thing, it's like, you know, we talked about earlier that cash flow is magic. Well, cash flow is also king or queen, because, you know, we want to be fair here. And so looking at it is single family residents. Well, they're easier to maintain. They're lower cost of entry point, but you have one renter and one cash flow. Duplexes are more expensive and they usually have more maintenance, but you have two renters. So now you have two sources of cash flow. 3 to 4 units. If you really want to jump right in here, there's a lot of unique options you can use to buy a 3 to 4 unit property, even as a first time buyer. But 3 to 4 unit properties, entry points higher, more maintenance on a different level, but now you got 3 to 4 sources of cash flow. So it depends on what you're doing this for. Is it the cash flow or the appreciation? You know, it just depends on your goals of which one you want to embark in first. And that's going to be up to your decision of how you're going to sleep best at nighttime.
So is there, it goes into the next stage. Is there a wrong property to start with? And David's already kind of jumped into this. Remember your goals and your financial situation. Having that strong game plan is going to tell you what's the best avenue to go for. Can you afford to lose a renter? I mean, if you're doing Airbnb short-term rentals, maybe you might have a week, a month where you're not getting tenants in there. Or maybe the time that it takes to clean the property, get it prepped, and get the next person in there is taking too much of your time. So you're still not getting renters in there. So things like that, you really have to really figure out with your basic trusted team to know what's going to be best for you. Do you reserve for things to go wrong? Because they will. I mean, if you own a property already, I mean, some people watching this right now, they don't own currently, but they're looking to purchase their first investment property. Okay. Now, if you do own, you'll know things go wrong all the time. And it's having the ability to take care of those and not, oh, we're getting this much rent, we're getting this much of our mortgage, we're basically breaking even. Factor in those reserves. Can you bootstrap? Can you do the work yourself on a property? Are you handy? I mean, with YouTube, everything like that going on these days, there's a lot of platforms to probably do a lot of things yourself. Or maybe when you're buying the property, get a home warranty on the property. That'll help you with a lot of factors in the property that goes wrong. Then you only have to pay a deductible. Do you have the patience to work with people?
So key to realize that you need patience to work with people. And we can't stress that enough, because guess what? Your renters, they're people. You've been a renter before. You want to be treated like a human, and you need the patience to work with people, get along with people, understand their situations, and look at it in bigger picture and go, you know, how can I help the renter? Because if you help the renter will in turn help you become more wealthy, which is the goal of why you're doing this. Ooh, I love this one. Let's look at some ways that prevent you from choosing the wrong property. So first of all, you know, you got to look at it. You got to know your neighborhood. You got to know the area you're buying in. You have to know what is probably the average income of the person that's going to rent in your neighborhood. You need to know what's the average rent paid. What also is the crime rate? No one wants to talk about this, but people don't like living in crime-ridden areas. People like to live in areas that are safe.
Crimespotter.org will give you a better idea. Crime happens in all communities. Look at crimespot.org. It's a platform that I use constantly. They'll give you an idea of what happens in that community. But also, before you look at that community, look where you currently live, just to kind of have a baseline to kind of play off of.
You know, and then also know your renter turnover. Know how do the renters go through in that neighborhood? Are they long-term renters? Are they the people you've talked to that's like, I lived here 10 years? Well, if that person's lived in your rental for 10 years, you've made a lot of money. Or is it every 6 months your renters turn over? Because that becomes a headache for you. So you need to know that. And then next, let's go into the property. Like, Me and Vinny stress this all the time. You need a really good real estate agent to help you avoid pitfalls on buying the wrong property. You gotta know the age of it. You have to know deferred maintenance. You gotta know the electrical, the piping, the roof. Was the work permitted, non-permitted? How's the accessibility to the property? Is there parking? For some of you who go to North Park, South Park, places like that, and you drive in and you're like, oh, there's a rental, but there's no garage and no driveway. That means your renter has to park on the street every day. Does that anger them? They'll pay more money to have a parking spot. And then the zoning. This is another key area that your real estate agent can really help you. Make sure you get a property with good zoning. Make sure that it can maybe potentially be improved. Maybe you can add another unit. And then the average cost per square foot of the property you're buying. And then what improvements can you do to that property, simple and easy, to increase rent? You know, is it water efficient sprinklers? Is it energy efficient appliances? Is it, you know, you have outside storage for your renter? How can you improve it to charge more money for rent? Ooh.
Learn about mortgages, and great CPAs can help you with tax benefits. Again, we are not CPAs, but hey. Non-owner properties and mortgages. Duplex will have higher rates for loans than single family. When you buy an investment down payment, it's usually 25%. I mean, it can be less if you're making it your primary residence. Maybe you're buying a multi-unit property. 3 to 4 unit properties will have higher rates than 2 units. More equity in the property means lower rates. Great CPAs can help you with maximizing tax benefits. CPAs can help you when you go to exchange properties and want to save money. Great CPAs can help you avoid recapture taxes and then make friends with an audit contractor. I mean, understanding what is going on, understanding how you can maximize your return as much as possible is going to make a drastic difference. I mean, if based off your tax bracket, I mean, your CPA might even talk to you about getting an investment property now just to help out with write-offs.
Yeah, super important to have a good CPA would be an understatement, because you definitely have a lot more write-offs with your investment property. All the improvements you do to that property are now tax deductible, unlike your house. You can't do improvements on your house and get tax deductions. You can on investment properties. There's a lot of big bonuses of saving how much money you pay Uncle Sam, unless you like paying taxes and want to pay more. Oh, here we go. This is one of my favorite slides, Vinny. I'm kind of biased, but I actually really like these slides. So
there you go.
Some formulas that help you on your ROI. Well, cash on cash returns. A lot of people look at it and they go, how much cash will I make? What's my rate of return? These formulas will help you out. They're really easy. So cash on cash returns. It's your annual cash flow divided by your initial cash investment equals your cash on cash return. So we're going to jump into this one, Vinny. I know you love my 24% rate of return on this bad boy.
It's impressive.
It is impressive. If you can find me this property, I will buy it now.
Buy it every day of the week.
Every day of the week, this gets bought. So you buy a rental at $700,000. You put down 25% because 25% down is where your interest rates really start getting good. That's $175K. And then you look at it. So annual cash from rents, that's basically $3,500 times 12 months equals $42,000 for the year. So take the $42,000, divide it by your initial investment of $175,000, 24% rate of return on your money. That is huge. So something to really think about. Next, net operating income. This is your annual income minus annual expenses, less the debt service. That means less the mortgage. So continuing with our great investment property purchase we got here. So you had $42,000 worth of rents come in, but yet you had to spend $12,000. That's $1,000 a month to upkeep that property, for maintenance, for things going wrong. That means you only made $30,000 in operating income. Now you're going to use this to see if you can pay your mortgage with the $30,000. So divide the $30,000 by 12. $2,500. If your mortgage payment is $2,500, you have a great deal on that property. It is paying for itself while the mortgage is paying down and the property is appreciating. Huge win. And then finally, payback period. Everyone wants to know, when do I get my money back? Give me my money. So it's your initial cash investment divided by annual cash flow. So let's look at it. You put down $175,000. You collect $42,000 in rent. You made all your money back in 4.17 years. That's huge. This property right here is a gold mine. I can't wait till you find this one, Vinny, because I'm buying this one.
Yeah, I always love your numbers.
That is being a positive person, I look at that as really awesome, but realistically, that's a hard investment to find right there.
So what else do you do to protect yourself? Learn California renters laws. I mean, there's so many. Californians have a lot of laws at their fingertips. Only hire a qualified realtor to help you and a qualified lender. It's hard to have one without the other. Property managers, do you need one? Learn the cost. Oh, going back to highly qualified realtor and help you and lender. If someone's doing both, I mean, maybe this is a bias to me, but if someone's doing real estate and lending, they probably don't know enough about both. That's why I don't focus on lending. I know enough to give insight. Yeah, it's really on basically the trusted resource like David that I have around me. That give us, dive deeper into what's actually possible. So something to
Vinny, I'm a carpenter, but on the side I do brain surgery. And so if you ever want to hire me, I do brain surgeries, a couple. That's what it's like when you hire the person that does real estate and loans at the same time. You get someone that's mediocre at both, and you don't want someone mediocre helping you unless you like mediocrity, which you're trying to make yourself wealthy. So don't settle for someone that, hey, I'm your realtor and I'm your lender. Oh, and I'm also a financial planner. Oh, and I am a CPA too.
Well, that's why I find it so funny, because I'll get marketed all the time by different vendors and different people saying, hey, do you want to make some side money while you're doing real estate? You can basically sell your people on this. I'm just like, no, I sell real estate. All right. Property managers, do you need one? Learn the cost. Yeah, property managers, they really vary for the most part from around 6 to 8% based off the property manager. It's really on your situation, if you need one or you don't need one, if you're going to do it yourself. So that's something to really dive deeper into. Plan on things going wrong. Again, because things will go wrong. Great insurance, better than cheap insurance. So make sure your property is well covered. If you're using a loan on this property, there's going to be guidelines that your lender is going to require the insurance takes care of. Yet look at it for yourself too. See if maybe you want to get more insurance and even your lender is talking to you about. And then realize you are paying the long game to create wealth. Be prepared to take some risks that are calculated. Cash is king, queen. You'll need it to operate and ensure you can sleep at night. Buy rental units, live in one for a while as you fix it up. Always look for ways to increase value. This equals increased rent. Always look for ways to increase costs, but never screw over your tenant. These things are just kind of thoughts to really think about when you're going through the process. If you have a happy tenant like David was talking about, that's lived at your property for, let's say, 10 years.
Wow.
Maybe you're charging them $100 less than you could get in the open market, or $50 less. But if you have the property vacant for a month and a half, how much have you lost? And the headache of actually finding a new tenant. So really things to think about. Sometimes it's great to have a tenant that's willing to stay with you for the long haul, because now it's paying for your mortgage.
Or that same tenant that calls you and goes, hey, this broke, but I actually fixed it and repaired it. And hey, you know what? The bathroom was, need a little bit of painting, so I painted it. Is that okay? You're like, wow, that's great. Or, hey, I actually just paid to have the carpets cleaned in my rental. In my house. All these things, it's like the better you treat people, they want to, most people, not everyone, let's be clear here. Not everyone is going to, help you improve your property, but I'm sure all of you know people who put money into their rental while they live there just because they want a nicer place to live. And that happens when the landlord is nice to you.
Yeah, so true. All right, now you have basics. Go look at properties. Okay, what to do? Hire a great agent and a great lender. Know the areas you're looking in. Look at the rents and improvements. Rental Meter is a platform you use. Use the formulas that we've put in together in this, and then know your goals, your game plan. So once you get the people together, get your support system together, they'll help you get your game plan. In that game plan, you're gonna have your goals together, because cash is king or cash is queen.
Boom. And as you guys saw, that house was made of money, because if you pick the right investment, it's going to help you become made of money. And money is not the root of all evil, people. Money actually brings out the true element of people. If you're a good person, money's going to make things better. If you're a bad, rotten person, you have a lot of money, there you go, more rottenness. So money actually creates opportunities for you, and life is about opportunities. And life's short, so make sure you take care of your health, your fitness, and you make the most of all your opportunities.
Man, even with that little hiccup, we still went fairly fast. So, for people watching right now, we kept it in 30 minutes.
That's good.
So it allows you for the rest of the day to enjoy yourself. We're going to put together other buyer seminars and things like that. If there's something that you're particularly curious about, feel free to reach out to us, and we can kind of walk you through this, walk you through the process. On to the next one. Follow us for our market updates.
Those are good. That's 10 minutes of time that you get a lot of data that we cram in there, and we never go over 10 minutes. And then also, if you're into improving yourself and entrepreneurship, what do we know about that, Vinny?
Follow my podcast called Road to Growth, all about overcoming adversity. Thanks, guys.